Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling out a piece of tech that's, well, it's a bit of a legend, maybe a cult classic, and definitely a big investment. We're talking about high-end compact cameras. Specifically, we're zoning in on the Ricoh GR series, the GR III and its cousin, the
Oh,
GRR.
yes, the pocket rockets.
Exactly. So our mission today is to figure out the logic behind the price. Why does this camera, which kind of limits you with its fixed lens, looks almost basic command such a premium?
Yeah.
We need to look at the tech that supposedly justifies it and then ground that cost with some pretty powerful real-world comparisons from our sources.
It's a really interesting case study, isn't it? Value versus engineering. When you look at the GR, the sources nail the core conflict immediately. Portability pushed to the max, but combined with series photo power.
Right.
And that combo. It's almost never cheap. The Ricoh GR has become sort of the benchmark for that specific goal. Big sensor, real controls, in something you can genuinely slip into a pocket.
It's like the ultimate camera for the best camera is the one you have with your crowd, but that philosophy costs a lot. Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with why people love it so much.
Okay.
What makes enthusiasts so devoted to the GRs? The sources talk a lot about portability and the features inside, sure. But the really interesting thing, I think, is the choice Ricoh made with the GR III and the thirds. It kind of forces your hand on shooting style.
Yeah, that really clarifies the split, doesn't it? The specialization isn't just it's small, it's baked right into the lens itself. The third versus the thirds, it's all about focal length. It's about how you see the world through it.
Okay, so break that down.
Well, the original GR III, it sticks with a classic wide angle, 28 millimeters.
Right.
For street photographers, landscape folks.
Right.
28 millimeters, powerful. It grabs the environment,
Yeah.
gives you context, great for buildings, getting movement in a wide shot.
You have to get close, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. It forces you to engage, get physically closer if you want to fill the frame. That's part of the appeal for street photography, that dance.
But then came the GR IIIx, and that's where, like you said, it gets nuanced. They tightened the view.
They did. They shifted the perspective to 40 millimeters. Now, for many photographers, 40 millimeter feels, well, it feels closer to how the human eye naturally perceives things. Not super wide, not telephoto.
Sort of a normal view.
Kind of, yeah. It's tight enough you can do compelling portraits with some environment or isolate subjects on the street without that wide-angle look.
Yeah.
You get a bit more intimacy without having to be, right on top of someone.
So if you're thinking about buying one, it's almost a philosophical choice you're making up front. The fixed lens itself says, I commit to this view. But here's a question. Couldn't someone just get the 28 millimeter GR the third and, crop the photo later to get a 40 millimeter view, save some money, get flexibility?
That's a good question. And people definitely ask it. The answer really comes down to image quality and white. Well, the intent behind the design. Sure, you can crop a 28 millimeter image. But when you crop, you're just throwing away pixels. You're losing resolution from that nice big sensor. The GRX, it's built around that 40 millimeter view. The lens, the processing, it's all optimized to get the absolute best quality at 40 millimeters using the whole sensor.
So it's specialization for maximum quality, not just cropping for convenience.
Precisely. You're paying for optimization at that specific focal length.
It really sounds like you're buying minimalism, but at a maximal price point. Specialization is the passion driver, okay, but the sources are super clear. The biggest hurdle is just the cost, the sticker shock.
Oh, absolutely.
It's tough to grasp the investment for such a small camera until you see it put into context. And our source material had this perfect, almost painful analogy from Malaysia.
Yeah, that analogy really hits home, doesn't it? It cuts through the numbers. We're talking about a camera that costs about the same as a brand new cap guy.
An underbone motorcycle.
An actual motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's not just expensive for a camera. That's a major purchase, like transportation major.
Yep.
And the source really hammers this point. It's a steep financial commitment, especially for, quote, normal people. So the question instantly becomes less about the tech specs and more about, okay, what are you really getting for that kind of money?
And the answer seems to be beyond just the lens choice. It's those dedicated controls and the big sensor, right, all crammed into this tiny body.
That's the core of it. You're paying for engineering density. The things that justify it over, say, your phone are mainly two things. First, the sensor. It's APS-C.
Same size as in much bigger cameras, like DSLRs or mirrorless.
Exactly. And that size difference is huge for low light performance. It just gathers more light. And it lets you get real shallow depth of field, that blurry background effect. Crucial for good portraits or isolating subjects at night. Atmosphere.
things phones still struggle with physically.
Right. And second, the dedicated controls. If you're trying to shoot quickly on the street, messing with a touchscreen,
Yeah.
it's just not going to work
No
well.
way. Too slow.
The GR gives you physical dials and buttons for aperture, shutter speed. And that snap focuses feature we mentioned, that's huge for street shooters.
Explain snap focus again quickly.
You basically preset the focus to a specific distance, say 10 feet. Then you just raise the camera and shoot instantly. It bypasses autofocus completely, no delay.
Point and shoot, literally.
But with manual control over the zone, you pull it out, click, done. A phone just can't match that tactile speed and reliability. So yeah, you're paying for instant, specialized, high-quality image capture in your pocket.
Okay, that makes the cost make more sense, even if it's still high. Miniaturization plus pro controls. But if someone can't spend motorcycle money, or just won't, our sources highlight two very different alternatives. Let's get into those trade-offs.
Good idea.
Alternative one, obvious one. The high-end smartphone. It's already in our pockets. It matches the GR for portability mostly. And the feature list is insane, way beyond just taking photos.
Yeah, the smartphone is the big question mark these days, isn't it? Their computational photography. It's frankly amazing. They blend exposures, use AI. The results, especially in good light, can look incredible.
And connectivity is king. Share instantly, edit instantly.
Totally. But they fall short where the GR excels, particularly when things get tricky. First, physics still matters. Sensor size. The GR's bigger sensor just handles low light way better. It captures subtle textures, avoids that digital noise smearing you sometimes see from phones trying too hard.
Right, phones can overprocess sometimes.
They often do, especially with JPEGs. They aim for that bright, punchy, shareable look, which sometimes means sacrificing fine detail. And they can struggle with things like rolling shutter if there's fast movement.
So phone gives you the easy, social-ready shot. GR gives you a richer, more robust file, especially if you shoot RAW.
That's a good way to put it. And the other big thing is controls. Trying to quickly change settings on a touchscreen while you're walking and shooting, it's clumsy. It takes you out of the moment.
Yeah, I can see that.
The GR is designed to be used one-handed, almost without looking, once you build the muscle memory. So you're trading the phone's massive feature set and instant sharing for the GR's specialized control, and arguably better pure image fidelity.
Okay, clear trade-off there. Now, what about the other path? For someone who wants that dedicated camera feel, but the GR price is just out of reach. Alternative 2, the used market. The sources were pretty clear that you don't have to spend GR money to get a good dedicated camera. There are cheaper ways, especially used.
Yeah, this is a great option for balancing capability and cost. The sources mentioned finding really good compacts from other brands for, what was it, under RM1000?
Yeah, less than 1,000 ringgit, which is way, way less than the GR3, like an eighth of the price, maybe less.
Exactly. Huge difference.
But.
And there's always a but.
Yeah.
At that price point, you need to know what you're giving up.
Okay, what are the trade-offs?
You get the dedicated control, which is great, but you're usually looking at older sensor technology. That means probably worse dynamic range, handling bright skies and dark shadows in the same shot will be harder.
And low-light performance suffers.
Significantly worse low light compared to a modern sensor like the one in the GR3. You'll see more noise, less detail when the light drops.
And you probably lose out on newer features too, right? Like image stabilization, faster startup, Wi-Fi.
Precisely. Things like in-body image stabilization, or IVIS, which the GR3 has and is amazing for handheld low light. You likely won't find that on cheaper, older used models. Startup times might be slower, connectivity less seamless.
So you get the camera feel, but lose modern conveniences and peak performance.
That's the trade. The used market gives you capability on a budget. The GR gives you modern performance and convenience layered on top of that capability.
Yeah.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, you basically have three clear paths, each maximizing something different.
Path 1.
Extreme specialization and modern performance, but high cost. The Ricoh GR. Maximum features, connectivity, ultimate convenience, but potential image quality compromises and control issues. The high-end smartphone.
And Path 3.
Dedicated camera feel and controls, lowest cost, but older tech and performance trade-offs.
Yeah.
The used market.
So what does this all mean for someone listening? It seems like the Ricoh GR isn't just a camera. It's more like a statement, a commitment to a very specific way of seeing and shooting. It's specialized, pocketable, excellence.
Yeah.
And that premium price, it's the cost of cramming that big sensor and those pro controls into such a tiny, minimalist package. Its value is totally tied up in whether you need exactly what it offers, that fixed 28 millimeter or 40 millimeter view, and if you're willing to pay that motorcycle level price for it.
At the end of the day, the sources really force you to weigh your priorities, don't they?
Yeah.
What matters most to you? Is it the peak specialization and convenience of the GR, even with the luxury price tag?
Or is it pure photo capability on a tight budget, meaning you accept the older tech of the used market?
Or do you value having everything connected, maximum features, and just accept the smartphone's approach, the good and the bad? It's a choice between a focused, dedicated tool and a more flexible, all-in-one solution.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Think about the tools you use, photographic or otherwise. How much do you value something that does one single thing perfectly versus something that does lots of things pretty well? And where's the line? At what point does that dedication, like being locked into a 40 millimeter lens, stop being a creative constraint that helps you and start feeling like, well, just a very expensive luxury?